Hey, how's it going? It's Jesse here from the Wholesaling Secrets podcast. I have here Clark Lunt. He's been through it all, and he's going to share his story and really his journey on reinventing himself as an entrepreneur. He's done a lot in the space, and excited to share his story, his mindset, and also, some of the, I wouldn't say failures. He didn't really share any failures on the episode, but more or less some of the more challenging moments that we have to sort of face when it comes to the lifestyle of entrepreneurship. So, anyways, enjoyed this episode here with Clark Lunt. Cheers. All right, we've got our guest here, Clark Lunt. Clark, how are you doing?
I'm great, Jesse. It's great to be on the show, my friend. I know that we've just kind of gotten a chance to meet and share a few war stories together, but I'm looking forward to see what we can put together for this episode, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were just talking about how we're like on the opposite side of the continent, across the border. Yeah, just couldn't be further. Anyways, you're you're in real estate. You're in business. You've got a podcast. You're involved with a lot of. You've been around the block, is what I'm going to say here. Help us understand first. How did you get on the block, and give us a little backstory of your involvement in real estate and also the entrepreneurial life.
Yeah, man. I'll try and keep it quick. I've got a podcast too. It's called Burn Your Boat's Wealth. And sometimes we have people come on the show and they spend like 49 minutes telling them about like, well, when I was in fourth grade, I had Miss Jones and she did this. And I'm like, look, that's great that Miss Jones like impacted you a little bit, but let's get to the meat and potatoes. So I'll try and keep it quick, man. I grew up and went to college at Oklahoma State, got a degree in journalism and broadcasting and graduated in 2005. I'm 41 years old. I knew that buying real estate was a good idea. I didn't know what type of real estate to buy, what I was supposed to do with it. I just knew that. So I literally bought a house right out of college when I was 22 or however old I was, $70,000 townhome. I still own it today, 20 years later. And I just knew that buying real estate was not that complicated. Like everyone has all these formulas, it's like, what's my cash on cash? It's like, they're trying to buy their first rental property and like, yeah, but what's the IRR? I'm like, dude, who cares what the IRR is on that? Just go buy that damn property and move into it. Like, it's not that difficult. So anyways, I bought like 7 or 8 rentals, went full-time into investing in 2015. I house hacked. I had over 25 roommates over my house hack days. Before it was called house hacking, I don't know what it was called. It was called
let's all live under one roof.
You're crazy for having a shitload of weirdos living in your house. That's probably what it was called before that. So I had that, man. So I learned a lot from that, but I also kept my expenses very low. So a lot of time when people are like, how do I make more money? I don't make enough money. It's like, well, before you look to try and make more money, how do you look at your expenses? Instead of taking that $2,000 rent payment, can I go get a $2,300 mortgage payment, throw 2 roommates in there, it's $800 a piece. Voila, you're in for $1,200 a month. You just saved $1,000. Like, it's not rocket science, right? So 2015, went full-time, bought a real estate franchise, which was very helpful because it was a roadmap. So like my first year, I flipped 17 houses. Without that roadmap, I would have flipped 2, right? Like, where do I get the money? Like, should I renovate this? Should I do it fully? Should I wholesale it? All those different things. So that was a good guy. It's like buying a Subway franchise, right? Like, I don't know how to make Subway sandwiches, but they do. Where do I get the shirts? Where do I get like the ham? Where do I get the best deal and all that stuff? So I did that for 5 or 6 years, did mainly wholesaling, did some flips, kept growing rental portfolio. And over the last couple of years, man, I've just been kind of reinventing myself. We kind of said this before, started a podcast, started doing some building, do the odd flip here or there, always looking to add to the portfolio. And I recently started a plumbing company. So that brings us to 2025.
Dude, I have so much to ask you. Let's pull it back here. It's like I get people who's like, yeah, I got my license and I trained under the person, and
right.
It sounded like franchise like fast tracked you. I mean, it gave you the formula. It threw the lingo at you. I mean, you're already doing some deals at that time.
It's a lot different though. Like buying a rental property and like putting a tenant in it is so much different than like wholesaling a deal or flipping a house, So like I had no flip experience. I had just bought a property that like kind of cash flowed $200 or $300 a month. And then I gave it to a property manager. And I was like, you guys deal with that stuff. So I didn't have a ton of experience getting to it. So I needed to find someone that had a lot more experience than me.
Uh, why did you decide to buy a franchise? And like, is it looking back at it? Would you have you gone that route again? Clearly, it worked out for you, or is there another path? Like, I can't imagine what it's like to go through the mechanics of buying a franchise, and what is that like physically? What did it actually look like? You have a location, or how does it all kind of?
It's a great question, man. Like I was interviewing, I was in my W-2 sales job and I've been promoted to sales manager and I was interviewing a guy to take my place. So I just been promoted to sales manager, needed to hire a new sales rep. And as I'm sitting there interviewing him, I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I buy some real estate. I'm like, cool, me too. And he goes, yeah, I'm buying this franchise. It's called Homevestors, We Buy Ugly Houses. I'm like, I've heard of that. A little caveman guy on the side that you see the billboards. And he was like, yeah, it's only like 15 grand. And I'm like 15 grand for like a franchise. Like you don't know how much it could be 150 grand or a million. I don't know how much is the McDonald's, $1 million, So anyways, he gave me the idea. I ended up not hiring him. And then I stole his idea and went and bought a franchise. And a franchise is amazing to get started. But the analogy I give, Jesse, is it's like training wheels, right? You get training wheels, but those training wheels are permanently attached to your bike. So as you get good at riding that bike and you start to see your counterparts that are there that don't have the training wheels, they're able to start going really, really fast if they're smart. Whereas I've still got that damn training wheel on my bike that I can't relinquish. So it helped me to get up much faster, but then the value diminished every single year that I was in the program.
How long were you in that franchise for?
I was in it for five or six. I sold it right before COVID started in 15. So
I mean, like, couldn't you look at it as almost like, listen, you're paying for school, like 15 grand? Like,
of
I mean,
course.
I have no coaching programs that are more than that.
No, but it's not the 15 grand. They don't make their money off that. They make their money off the revenue. So every dollar I spent in advertising, I was spending $5, 10, 15, $20,000 a month. They were taking a nice piece of that. I don't want to get too much into the details.
Let me ask you this: did you end up in the positive?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. It was. I like looking back. It got me to where I'm at. You just said that, right? So the proof's in the pudding, right? Like it helped to project me. It's just over time, it became less valuable, and it almost became more of handcuffs, and it almost slowed me down. And I was like, okay, this was good. I appreciate everything you guys did for me. I'm gonna, exit stage left and go try it on my own. But I wish you the best. To my cap.
Would you ever recommend somebody to say, you know what, like, do a franchise for 2 years, just have a goal to get out in 2 years or whatever years? Would that be like a reasonable?
I think it's better. I think my motto for 2025 is who, not how. So ironically, I did that in 2015 before, Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan ever wrote that book. But the thing is that I don't know how to flip houses. I didn't know how to wholesale houses. I thought assigning contracts was illegal, right? And I had a lot of people tell me it was illegal. Okay. And, a bunch of people that had never done real estate told me that it was illegal. So those are always the best people to listen to for advice. Right. But I found who could help me to like expedite my journey by giving me capital, by giving me mentorship. There was mentorship built in, by giving me a community. A community is so important, right? Where you're surrounding yourself with other people. You can go arm in arm together. It's like going to summer camp for the first day and it's all new and you're like trying to help each other out, right? So for people that are like just getting into the business, if they're like, you know what, I'm just going to bootstrap this thing and start it, like I would not recommend that. I would recommend like go find some wholesaler that's doing 10 deals a month and go bring value to them. Like, hey, sit down and say, look, are you having more challenges on your dispo side or your acquisition side? How can I bring value to you? And go work for them for a year or two. The franchise is a better option than getting your real estate license, than starting it on your own, in my opinion, because there's so many wholesalers that probably go in and out of business. You got to be able, especially now, man, everyone's a wholesaler. So you got to make sure that you get yourself propelled in the right direction. I mean, look at New Western, right? New Western has probably given so many people the runway, the training crash course. Whether you like New Western or not is a different story, but they've given a lot of people the skill sets needed to go do it on their own.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate the advice of go find somebody and be of service to them,
Yeah.
and help them out. I sort of reflect back on my journey. That's sort of exactly the path I took too. But cool. All right, so you got out of that, and then you continued to real estate invest for a bit there.
Mhm.
Um, in 2022, you sort of saw this sort of spike in interest rates. How did
Yep.
that affect you, and all these sort of entities that you had going on, or
Yeah.
all your entire portfolio?
So 2022, interest rates spiked. It completely ripped our business model out. So from 20, I had partnered with someone else after I left the franchise. For like 2 years, we were selling turnkey rentals to a group out of California. And so they were buying on cash flow and we were able to sell it for a profit, right? Well, when the interest rates go up, that cash flow basically got eliminated overnight, right? So it burned my boats. In June of 2022, the music just stopped. And so we didn't know it exactly at that moment, but looking back, I'm like, we were trying to sell properties where the cash flow was negative, was like negative $100. Like who wants to buy, put down 50 grand on a 250 grand house and lose, and you're guaranteed to lose $100 a month if everything goes right, if the faucet doesn't break, if the tenant pays on time, you're guaranteed, right? You have listen, man. I'm a good salesperson, but I'm not. I guess I'm not good enough. I can't sell ice to an Eskimo because they weren't buying what we were selling. So man, so we just, I had to step back. Luckily, I had been in the game long enough to where I had savings. I had some like cash flowing rentals that I bought over the years that I didn't sell. And, I think one of the big things that I've learned is that, like, we talk about, everyone says, like, well, why are you getting into real estate? Well, I want to have freedom of, lifestyle, freedom of financial freedom, right? Freedom of time. But no one ever talks about freedom of career, right? So if you are in X, career and you get fired, your boats get burned, you get laid off, whatever the case may be, and you've got to go find a job. Well, what are you going to do? You're just going to run across the street to the competitor. You're going to do what you know, right? Even if you don't necessarily want to do that because you don't have that freedom of career. And I was lucky enough to have like put myself in a position where I could step back, smell the roses, and like kind of have discussions, go on podcasts, listen to podcasts, go to meetups, do whatever it was to like really find out like what do I want to do in the next stage of my life. And I didn't have emotions come into it where it's like I've got to make a decision in 30 days or like I'm broke, right? And so freedom of career, my friend, is something that no one talks about, but I'm putting my name on it.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, when things sort of just dried up, was that June? You said June of
June of
2020.
2022, man. I could literally feel in the air. The air
Oh,
just it was a different feel to it.
so when you come across that, and I mean, you have to figure it out now.
That's it.
That's always a very scary place for most. I mean, for everybody. I mean, it's the unknown.
Yep.
Uh, how did
Scary as shit.
how yeah how did you uh, how did you feel about that? I mean, yeah.
Um,
I mean, I guess it's nice knowing that you had, cash flowing rental properties there to support you. But I mean, still, nonetheless, you now have to figure something out. And so, what did that look like in your head?
it's definitely scary, but like, remember like 2015 when I had gotten into real estate, I quit my really good W-2 job. But I overlapped it, right? So like, for example, when I didn't just stop, career A and start career B on a Monday, like quit on a Friday, start on a Monday. I remember I consulted for my previous company for like 6 to 9 months. And I remember that I had a bunch of commissions that I still needed to like pipeline. I needed to close because I was in sales. And I remember I cut a deal with my old boss and I said, look, there's 20, 30, 40 grand, whatever it was, in like future commissions and deals I still needed to close. I said, look, you can hand these to another salesperson, but I'm the one that has the relationship. Let me stay on and close those deals over the next 6 months. And I was like, and then also too, instead of giving me my normal amount of money I was getting, I said, give me $1,000 a week. I said, just give me $1,000 a week. It'll just kind of pay groceries and some rent and stuff. And I ended up making $1,000 a week for like 6 or 8 months after that, right? And that was enabling me to also then go start the new business, where we all know when you start a business, you don't make shit for the first 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially a year, right? If not more. So that gave me like a little bit of a safety blanket to be able to do that. So in 2022, when like every 8 years, things are just like, all right, it's time to pivot again. I had enough. I had a few projects in the works that weren't it hadn't closed yet. Like we ended up selling like a 12 unit complex to our group out of California in like early 24. So there was just some like random commissions and profit that came in to kind of help bridge the gap. Not to say that I was like off flying to the Bahamas every weekend or anything, but I still had enough to kind of like sit around and really understand like where's the market going, where's there like a fragmented market, like where are there places where not everyone is running to. And it takes a while. It's probably took me 2 years to really kind of have a clear focus as to where I want to go. But look, everyone that we've interviewed on our podcast that's really, really successful, they've got one thing in common, Jesse, and that's they work their ass off. Like, I don't care. They're not just like working from a laptop on the beach for like 2 hours. Like, they're working their ass off like all the time. And, I was able to reap the benefits of working my ass off to where I could like come to a kind of like a smooth landing.
Working your ass off. There's really no shortcut around that.
There's not, man. There's no shortcut.
That's the honest truth there. Now, you talk about pivoting here. You mentioned 8 years type of thing for yourself.
Yeah.
How should one sort of approach pivoting? Like it takes a lot. Like it takes a huge mental toll on you.
Yeah.
And how do you even start that? Like if it's, let's say for yourself, you're focused on your podcast, maybe building a personal brand right now. I'm
Right.
not sure. That's what I was assuming here. It's like, how do you start that? And there's so much unknowns. You don't even know where you're going. And so help us understand maybe some of the creative processes that you went through.
Yeah,
Maybe you're still going through.
I'm sure if you ask this to 10 different people in the seat, you may get 10 different answers. I think if I could go back to 2022 again, I would have been faster at getting into rooms with other people that are doing different things, right? That are doing bigger things than me, that have gone through this before, right? So it probably wouldn't start with like the Thanksgiving dining room table where it's like, oh, that sounds so scary. Go back and get a W-2, whatever that looks like. So it's like, all right, I'm going to go you have to buy yourself into these rooms. This is not like sitting down at the Starbucks and just hoping that like Warren Buffett's like sitting next to you drinking a cup of coffee. So it's like, yeah, I've got to write checks to get into these rooms and go surround myself with people that are doing things urgently. And then ask them questions. What are they doing? Why do you like it? What are your pain points that you're facing? Excuse me. And then it makes it easier. I'll give you an example. So I was talking, we were building a house, this duplex in St. Pete, Florida. And I called my buddy, and he builds like 100 houses a year. And I said, hey, we're having this issue with the city, and they're saying we have to put the AC here instead of there. And it's going to be a huge delay. And, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what am I going to do? And he's like, Clark, he's like, hold on for a second. He goes, dude, you just described like every Tuesday for me. And I was like, oh shit. So this isn't really that big of a deal. And he's like, no, man. He's like, that's like, that happens on like every single new build I do. And like, it kind of like made me think, like, I need to go spend time with people in those rooms. They're like, oh, your business model got wiped out because the interest rates went sky high in 2022 and you can't do it. Oh yeah, that's already happened to me 3 times. Cool. I did this and this time, this and this time. So, and that's it. And it's like, there's no emotion. It's like, it sucked. And I had to think again, right? One of my favorite books. I can't remember the name of it. Adam Grant, Think Again. Love that book. And he's like, you got to think again, go talk to people, go ask questions, be curious, be interested, not interesting in these, whether it's conferences, whether it's mastermind groups. But the easiest way, again, just like who, not how, right? Like, oh, what do I do? Do I start watching YouTube? Do I start like, No, go get in rooms and start asking people and knocking on the door. Hey, yeah, this is the challenge I'm facing. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. What are your thoughts on it? But I want people that are bigger, faster, stronger than me.
That's really interesting. And then so now you've pivoted. You're still involved in real estate, and
I am.
and we've talked about you have a podcast. You did mention you're working on your personal branding.
Yep.
How important do you think that is for real estate investors? Just because the audience here are real estate investors, is that something that you would advocate for to people to start building a personal brand?
I mean, man, this is 2025. Like, yeah, of course. Like, if you're not building your personal brand right now, like that's you're going to be behind the curve, right? And it's challenging. I think I know a lot of real estate guys that are very successful and they're pretty humble and they're not interested in like going on Instagram and showing a HUD statement where they just made like 126,000. Like that's just not their persona, and it's not mine either, right? So it's like it's nails on a chalkboard to like walk around and show a flip that you're doing and blah blah blah. Like it's so unemotional, right? As you do enough flips, I don't care about the kitchen cabinets. I don't care about the countertops. I don't want to go online to Instagram and say, do you like this countertop or this one? Vote and tell me. And we'll like none of that appeals to me at all. But there is, again, it kind of comes back to who, not how. I think that being able to kind of hire someone, even if it's part-time, even if it's a VA over in the Philippines or wherever, to kind of help at least just keep you accountable, to say, look, I need 2 pieces of content this week or 3 pieces of whatever the hell you're working on at the moment. That is something that isn't a tremendous investment in terms of financial, but yeah, man, I mean, it's 2025, man. Attention is the number one, commodity that's being traded as eyeballs, right? It's not about how many, there's plenty, most of the people that are, I mean, everyone we interview on our podcast is usually way more successful than I am. And half the time you've never even heard of these people because they've got 16 followers on Instagram because they're too busy building, 300 unit apartment complexes to give a crap about what their Instagram following is, so but it helps, right? It helps to open doors. You wouldn't have heard of me if it wasn't for me being on a podcast. I wouldn't be here right now. So it's like you do have to put some effort into it. And it doesn't matter. There's plenty of people I know that have done very little in real estate, and they probably have way more successful content than I do. Yet I know 10 times more than them about real estate because they're just better at it. So I guess fake it till you make it.
Help us understand, like tactically, how do you go about? What are some things that you do to build a personal brand? Some people are listening here, and I think it's so true. Like you can leverage a personal brand easily and a voice
Yeah.
and authority easily, and man, you can leverage that. And so, what are you doing tactically right now, or on a day to day to build your personal brand? Give us understanding what that sort of landscape looks like.
Yeah, I mean, leverage your personal brand is just talking about what you're doing, and that's so cliche, man. You hear it all the time. Just talk about what you're doing, but I do think that like I'll give you an example. So I just started a plumbing company, right? And so guess what I did? First thing, it's free. I went on Facebook, I went on Instagram. Hey guys, all the people that I'm connected with, I started a plumbing company. Well, who needs plumbing, right? And within the first like 3 or 4 days, I had like 4 book jobs that we went out, knocked out just through social media, just free, right? And uh, they were great conversations. I know them. I'm like they trust me. They know that I'm going to do a good job for them, even though they don't know me as a plumbing guy. They know me as personally, right? Or they've seen me on podcasts. So it's like even if they don't know me, they feel like they trust me if they've listened to our stuff. So you can leverage that. And I remember when we started the podcast, our kind of motto, Jessey, was instead of like I've been chasing butterflies all my life, man. I just go around and I've got shiny red balls, these shiny butterflies. They got beautiful wings, and then the next one looks better than the last one, right? It's like chasing girls at a bar, right? And we said, look, we're going to start this podcast. We're going to build a garden, and we want the butterflies to come to our garden, right? And so it's like instead of me going around, it's very it's not efficient. It's not an effective use of your time to constantly chase butterflies. I would much rather be the person at the front of the room, right, with the microphone in their hand, and people listen to you enough, they trust you, and then it's much easier if you want to raise capital. if you want to start a business, if you want to help connect on deals together, like joint venture, all those are possible. And it's just kind of like throwing a net out. It's like you go fishing, you throw a net out, you reel it in. Sometimes you got an old shoe and a tire and a salmon and this and that, and you throw the tire out, but maybe you're missing a shoe for the day and you need a shoe. So voila, it lines up. So being able to build that garden and talk about what you do and be authentic with what you say, whether because we talk a lot about our screw ups, man. It's not just all, rainbows and sunshine. A lot of it's like, we made the dumbest mistakes here. We've done a ton of episodes about mistakes that you should basically look out for, red flags, things that we did. Don't make the same mistake. So being authentic, man, and just telling people what you do and not feeling like you're bugging everyone. It's easier said than done, but that's what I
got. So as you're working on your plumbing business, I love how you've reinvented yourself so much. When I look at some of the most successful people, it's like it is part of the game to reinvent yourself, whether within your field or out of your field. Yeah. I can talk about this with real estate investing or
Right.
land investing or they are people that are sticking around, are reinventing themselves.
Yeah.
You can look as far as, I don't know, you could talk about Elon Musk, who's done this and then he's doing this and Tesla has changed to this now. So it's really incredible to hear that you're reinventing yourself. And it comes back to, again, there seems to be in my mind, it's a very scary valley to be in, to think about that. And it's almost like you do it enough, it's like it almost becomes that's part of your entrepreneurial life, to continue to just reinvent yourself. So
yeah.
Now that doesn't mean you've left real estate. You were telling me, deals are coming to you.
Yep.
I don't want to use deals are not coming to you, but it's always in your peripheral, and it's tempting for you. Not tempting, it's there, and you're going to work on it. You don't look at it as a work or business. How did you get into that position? Why are you still involved with real estate investing?
I think it's built in your DNA, man. I was able to, I'll give you an example. That's something that really sums it up is I track all my rental properties. Right. And I remember in 2019, I track the values. Every year I sit down once a year and just run comps on everything. Right. And then I looked for a part of my portfolio, and then I ran it the next year. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in my office at 6:30 on a Friday, and I was like, oh, let me just run the comps on it. Same rentals, hadn't done a lot of, infused CapEx or anything like that. And the value of a portion of my portfolio had gone up $1 million. Okay. And so I was like, holy shit. I just busted my ass for a couple $100K of active real estate, right, for the year. And this boring, off to the side, I don't even look at it, portfolio just went up $1 million freaking dollars, right? In a 12-month period, right? Now, COVID, I think it was COVID was involved, right? So let's just take COVID out. Let's just say it went up 500, right? That's 500 grand or $1 million that I put 10% of my energy toward. Go find me a better way to make $1 million in a year with a bunch of $25,000 down here, $30,000 down here, 10 grand here, 50 grand here. It's not to say that I didn't have to put money into it. I did, and I delayed my gratification, but $1 million. And so when I saw that, I'm like, this is the pathway to wealth, right? This is how you build your legacy. How I make my active, pay my rent, buy my groceries, go on trips, money, potentially will change, but I will always be buying and holding real estate. And it's just, I'm evolving in terms of what I look at. I buy nicer assets now. I've paid many consequences for buying shitty C-class rentals that I'm now paying for, and I'm renovating them, and they're still crappy. So I've learned a lot, but at the end of the day, if I can buy something and hold it, my greatest skill set is being able to buy stuff and not sell it. Not now. That means that I don't get that big hit, that drug, that wholesale deal where you make 30 grand. But there's so many wholesalers I see that they do great. They're doing 5 deals a month, 10 deals a month, whatever it is. And I'm like, cool. How much are you holding? and they're like, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting my first rental." I'm like, "Dude, you should. Why are you not scraping one of those out there and just don't make that $15,000 rip and just go burr that thing, and just keep repeating, because every wholesaler says I'm going to wholesale 4 and I'm going to keep 1."
Buy and holds are a big part of your strategy nowadays. Is that sort of what you're focused on nowadays?
No, it's not my main focus, but because it doesn't create like they don't make money, especially now in this environment. It's very very difficult. But I know that like I've seen how it is, right? I've been buying rentals since 2006, and so I've seen how the rentals I bought in 2012, 13, 14, well, they've gone up, right? They've gone up a lot, and I've seen rentals in 2019 go up, and even if they dip down right now, there's probably some that have dipped down a little bit, maybe year over year. But I don't care. Like I'm not going to sell it. So I just have a tenant in there. They pay the mortgage payment. I thank them. I fix the faucet when it breaks. I give that to a property manager. And, it's not rocket science, save up some money, buy another one, go find someone that's doing bigger stuff than me, and, partner with them to go buy bigger stuff. Usually I don't buy stuff anymore on my own. I usually have partners, which is cool because it enables me to give more buying power to buy nicer stuff, bigger stuff in better locations, more just more appealing to buyers instead of just buying C-class stuff that's fairly easy to buy on your own. And so that's kind of where I'm at on that.
All right, Clark, I want to wrap it up here. Do you have any sort of, I feel like you've been just through so much here, and it might be hard to look back at all but then again, you're restarting. You've got a plumbing business now and all that. What sort of advice would you give to somebody? I don't know. This is a very, very broad stroke question here, but anything that just stands out, maybe you thought about recently, maybe contrarian. I don't know. Anything that, just in terms of running a business, growing a business, staying in a business, or dipping through, reinventing yourself. Any thoughts here that you can share with our listeners?
Of course. I think if you're looking for advice, or if you're looking for like the answer, right? There's never gonna be a perfect time, right? There's never the perfect time to buy real. Everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna wait until real estate does this and this. Like they have some crystal ball that they just like stare into and it just works out, right? It doesn't work like that, right? So if you're gonna buy real estate, if you're gonna buy a rental property, if you're gonna buy a fix and flip, go do it. Like just make sure that you adjust the numbers properly. And if you don't know what the proper numbers are, then go ask someone that's done it more than you have. So I think some of the things that the most successful people, and I'm very bad about chasing shiny red balls, and I'm trying to narrow in my focus, right, is to make sure that if you want to go do something, go talk to someone that's done it before you, bigger, faster, stronger than you, and ask them, a lot of questions. And don't rely on your friends and family that probably don't have that experience that you need that person to confide in, right? The number 2 thing I would say is that the most successful, and I'm trying to emulate this right now, is the most successful people are able to go from idea to implementation very, very quickly, right? It's like, all right, I have an idea. All right, let me think about it for a day or two. Don't let me think about it for 6 months, right? While I just sit around and do this. Go start making the steps. And the thing is that I literally wrote down, when I started the plumbing company, it's like I wrote down like 70 things, right? And it can be very overwhelming, but I'm like, all right, today I'm going to do these 2. And if I do these 2 things, I'm going to consider this a successful day. I'm going to start it and I'm going to finish those 2 things. And then I'm going to figure out what are the next 2 things that I need to do to keep pushing the boulder up the hill, right? And I was able to kind of, from the time that I even started thinking about starting the plumbing company was in like, I think it was like March maybe or something like that. And then kicked it off the ground in earlier this month in June. So that's I think it's very, very important to not sit around and analyze the thing for 9 years and ask every single person what their thoughts on it, because you're going to find people that are going to be the naysayers, going to be like, that's a stupid idea. This is the market, blah, blah, blah. My friend one time started a plumbing company. It didn't go well for him. And he lived 5 states away and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? So I would say, go find people that are bigger, faster, stronger than you. Pay if you want to get into those rooms. You probably will be. And then when you have an idea, the quicker that you can get from start or the idea to implementation, the better, right? Because even if you fail, right, you're going to fail faster and then go find the next idea, right? Like I heard I don't remember who it was some billionaire dude. And he was like, The only reason why I'm more successful than you guys is that I just fail quicker than you guys do. You sit around and have these ideas for 9 months. I've already started the business and it either went amazing or I failed. And I moved to the second thing while you're still sitting around drawing notes on scrap paper, right? So if you could just take those two ideas of leaning on other people, who, not how, and then taking the idea that you formulated through talking to people smarter than you and implementing it and like going fast and freaking running, man, like sprint and write the ideas down. You're not going to know every problem to solve if you're getting into wholesaling, if you're getting into fix and flipping. Like you don't know what you don't know, but just write down what you think and start taking action, and cut out all the noise, and that'll get you on your way.
I love that. I think there's also something to be said when you have that momentum or motivation. That's like fuel that you have to capture, because that's like a leaky bucket, and once it's gone, you're not going to want to do it anymore. So
yeah.
No, that's awesome. Clark, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your journey and all the things that you're going through and reinventing yourself. And I hope people come away from this episode to realize like this is just part of the game when it comes to business, when it comes to doing what you want to do. I guess last thing here, Clark, can you share with us how can people find your podcast? How can people engage you or be a service to you?
Yeah, anyone can reach out if you're in real estate and you're maybe having challenges or things like that. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can point you in the right direction. Our podcast is called Burn Your Boat's Wealth. It's on all the platforms: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that stuff. All our social media at Burn Your Boat's Wealth. Go on there, DM us. We'll definitely respond back. We don't have some bot that's responding to you. So we try and engage and create relationships. That's the whole point, right? I built the garden, right? So it's like if people come to us, you're the butterflies coming into our garden. Let's have a chat. Maybe we can work together. Maybe we can lend you money. Maybe we can joint venture with you on something. Maybe we can just shoot the shit for 10, 15 minutes and just have laughs and trade war stories like we're doing here. It's all good, man. Life. If you're not smiling, Jesse, and you're just burned out all the time, what are we even doing all this for?
Absolutely. Clark, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your view on things. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys listening got something out of this. Thank you again, and take care.
This was fun, man. Thanks, Jesse. See you guys next time.